The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus went to the Mount of Olives at daybreak. He appeared in the temple again. And as all the people came to him, he sat down and began to teach them. The scribes and Pharisees brought a woman along who had been caught committing adultery, and making her stand there in full view of everyone, they said to Jesus, "Master, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery, and Moses has ordered us in the law to condemn women like this to death by stoning. What have you to say?" And they asked him this to test, looking for something to use against him. But Jesus bent down and started writing in the ground with his finger. And as they persisted with their questions, he looked up and said, "If there is one of you who has not sinned, let him be the first to throw a stone at her." Then he bent down and wrote on the ground again. When they heard this, they went away one by one, beginning with the eldest, until Jesus was left alone with the woman, who remained standing there. He looked up and said, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No, sir," she replied. "Neither do I condemn you," Jesus said. "Go away and sin no more." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
Well, today we have some big readings. But we are moving closer and closer to this great mystery, the mystery of all mysteries, the mystery of Holy Week and Easter. And as we're moving towards it, and remember, we're in the desert, huh? I think if you didn't remember you're in the desert, today you know you're in the desert. Complete lockdown, nobody moving, everybody staying still. And in this desert time, we're being proposed now another question. The question of morality. The question of moral choice. If you look at that first reading, you'll see something that is intriguing. The men had been looking at Susanna for a while. It didn't just happen one day. And looking at Susanna for a while, their lust grew, and it grew, and it grew. And their lust having grown, they then wanted to go from lust to rape. And they went from rape to murder. And that's the nature of sin sickness. That it creeps in like a little seed, but when it flowers, it becomes a mighty tree. And in our story, what we have is the other side of it, the innocent woman who puts her trust in God. Against all odds, against her whole community, against everyone condemning her, she puts her trust in God, and she is unshaken in her trust. She becomes a type for Jesus. They become a type for the crowd and the Pharisees and the whole institution of Israel that will condemn Jesus. And so we have already been played out before us the logic of the drama that will unfold in the Holy Week. The innocent one and sin that is given into over and over until it flowers, it grows, it becomes a mighty tree, and takes over the whole of the people. Where are we in that drama? I know. We belong to the side of the innocent one. Not so? Come on. Correct? Not so? I wish. How has sin crept into your life? How has it crept in as a little seed? How have you allowed it to grow? How has that growth of sin become mature? And how is it evolving into something else? That's what the story is about. On another level, the story is about concupiscence. Concupiscence is the inclination to sin that came through Adam and Eve in the fall. And it's a threefold. And we met that when we had our first Sunday in Lent. We met it as a triple concupiscence, which is the three temptations that Christ had to face. Lust of the flesh, which is what we're dealing with here. Lust of the eyes, which is all the glory of the world and on all the fanciness that the world has to offer that we lust after. And pride of life, which is the original sin, pride, where we believe that we are better than God. And this triple concupiscence, which we met at the beginning of Lent, comes back at us at this moment as we're preparing to face the Holy Week celebrations in 1 week's time and the central mystery of our faith. Because it is in this triple concupiscence that we understand our desperate need for a Savior. And thank God we know His name. His name is Jesus Christ. The voice of the young one who speaks out in prophecy to save Susanna is a voice of incredible reason and wisdom. The old people had become dumb, and the young man had wisdom. Isn't that a wonderful contrast? And so now we have a whole movement happening in our text. And because of his intervention, she is seen to be the innocent one, and the two lecherous men, they are condemned. Now we have the flip text in our gospel, where the old men have brought a woman caught in the very act of committing adultery. But again, in this text, there's no man. Where's the man? She was committing adultery by herself, clearly. And I mean, so there's a lot of humor happening in the text. But for our purposes, there's one point in this text. That as they are condemning, they're doing so to trap Jesus. So we're back to the first reading. This is not a straight conversation. This is a trap, a test, a testing. Jesus bends down and writes in the sand. And they keep insisting. He writes in the sand again. And then they leave one by one and go. And the question the text asks of us is this: who writes with their finger? Who? And who writes twice? Because what is being read here is Jesus becoming a type for God back up on Mount Sinai, where God used his finger to write the law. And he wrote it twice. Because the first time Moses broke the tablets because of the disobedience of the people. And here we have the whole coming together of salvation history, of our rebellion and God's incredible mercy, of our licentiousness and God's incredible mercy. And what this text of mercy, of extreme mercy, of really extreme mercy to this woman, what this text speaks to you and me as we're preparing ourselves for the big sacred mysteries in 2 weeks' time, is that if we have the eyes to see, we will know that we need a Savior. And if we have the heart wide open, we will know that this Savior is a God of mercy, a God of incredible, incredible mercy. Today, as we come to the readings, let us see the way in which concupiscence has taken hold in our life, the ways in which we have given in to lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and pride of life. But let us also see the incredible mercy that God has for this woman, that Jesus writes a new law. It is the law of mercy. And in that, the woman finds her freedom, but is given the command, go and sin no more. So let us turn to the loving gaze of God, who alone can cure us of concupiscence and all of our sin sickness, and beg as Susanna did, plead as this woman did, for the mercy of our God. Amen.